welcome to the channel. Tonight I have Russ Scala again on the YouTube channel together with me to do some interesting topics. He's the author of The American Biohacker, an incredible book you should order on Amazon. Okay, welcome Russ.
How's everybody doing? Hi guys. Hopefully today I could shine some light on some new areas so we could help the group really be on the tip of the spear, Stephen.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. So tonight I wanted to ask you about TRT in combination with the ketogenic diet, a diet that is very popular for the moment, and fasting. So what can you tell us about that combination? Is it good? Is it you have an experience with it?
Please like and subscribe. Thank you.
And hit that notification bell so you won't miss anything.
Yeah. Listen. What we want to do, guys, is understand that I started the ketogenic diet in 1996 when we were all endurance athletes, and we wondered why we were so heavy. And we noticed that when we started the ketogenic diet, when doing long distance training, that we recovered faster. And we made a lot of mistakes. We had some electrolyte imbalances. I ended up in the ER a couple times with atrial fibrillation. But we knew back then there were so many overweight endurance athletes in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. I knew there was something else we needed to do. And in 1999, I used the diet. I swam 13 miles around Key West, Florida. Took me 5 hours. And I used this diet. As long as I kept my heart rate down, I was able to increase my performance. So since that time, I used TRT programs, TRT, hormone replacement therapy, in combination with the ketogenic diet for diabetics, for heroin addicts, for people with dementia. And the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting impact more metabolic pathways than any drug currently on the market. And that's very powerful. If you look on a cellular level, that when you use the ketogenic diet and your brain and your heart, the most metabolically active tissues in your body, your heart beats 84,000 times a day, your brain does not rest. Both your heart and your brain have a high amount of mitochondria. And this mitochondria, when it's fed fat, the ketone called beta-hydroxybutyrate, less free radicals are produced and the brain and the heart work more efficiently. Now, I've been in front of hundreds of cardiologists and they don't get it. So, Stephen, a lot of the stuff we're talking about here has never been discussed before. That's why thank you for getting this out to people, because now they could ask their doctor the tough questions. They could put themselves on the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting and really change their metabolism. And then when you add TRT to this, you could actually low dose the TRT therapy and not worry about, any type of testosterone conversion or anything. And again, Stephen, we always say everybody's biochemically unique. There is no sweeping generalizations. We have to customize the program for each individual. So that's sort of a 60,000 foot view of incorporating the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, and TRT as a tool, depending on whether you're a person with some type of pathology, dementia, irritable bowel, addiction, or if you're a performance person that just wants to increase their performance. I've worked with a lot of bodybuilders, and I love those guys. They taught me so much about muscle wasting in the elderly. I've consulted with nursing homes, and I've consulted with people with cognitive decline. And that package of the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, and TRT, I think sooner than later, it's going to be one of the most powerful treatment protocols that we could use for a variety of disease states. And if you think about this, heart disease, diabetes, dementia, and obesity have inflammation and high insulin involved. So when you go on the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting and the right hormonal replacement therapy, you bring down insulin and inflammation, Stephen. It's amazing. I can't believe what I see on a daily basis.
And how does this ketogenic diet changes gut health?
Well, one of the things that some people have irritable bowel, some people have, we do stool sampling and we test the microbiome. Sometimes when people shift over to the ketogenic diet and they don't feel good, it takes a while for the gut flora to be able to handle the fat and the protein. Okay, if you've been on a standard American diet for 20 years, that gut flora is used to carbohydrates, and a lot of those carbohydrates cause problems in the inflammatory cytokines.
Okay. And is that where the combination with metformin comes in, maybe?
Yeah, I think metformin is a tool. I just for what my clients, I've had some clients that had some problems with metformin, with some nutritional deficiencies. I think it's a good tool to use, but I lean more towards the ketogenic diet and fasting. But I have to get the brain chemistry in balance because a lot of my clients have carbohydrate addictions. If you take a page out of the book, potatoes, not Prozac, carbohydrates, white rice, bread, and pasta elevate serotonin levels and make you feel good. So when women or men are trying to raise a family, run a business, at the end of the day, you know, they want some simple carbs. And I use simple carbs at night sometimes to help people go to sleep. So I'm not the food Nazi here. I try to plug this in to each individual's treatment protocol as tools.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Okay, and is that the standard diet that you recommend even for athletes? Because I also hear a lot of people say, well, athletes need their glycogen, they need their carbs to fill, like marathon runners, for example. I always hear them eating pastas to get ready for their sports.
Yeah, and again, what I had to wrap my head around was I was an endurance athlete for 20 years. I raced all over the country. The carbohydrates I was eating was slowing my recovery. Now, understand, it took me a while to believe this because I had to experience it myself. And then once I worked with other athletes and we shifted them over to the ketogenic diet and used the carbohydrates during their race, it was like a jet fuel. I mean, Stephen, one of the bike rides I used to do was a 75-mile bike ride, and at 50 miles, we used to stop at the store. A lot of times I would ride with guys that were a lot stronger than me. When I would get to the store to refuel myself, I was completely depleted. I couldn't even turn the pedals over. I would drink half a can of Coke, and it would carry me the next 30 miles. A half a can of Coke. So I was targeting my carbohydrates to get me through the ride. And with each athlete being different, I believe in the near future, you're going to see more endurance athletes use the ketogenic diet, more endurance athletes use the high-fat diet during their training at a low heart rate to keep their heart and their brain functioning properly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that was very interesting. I don't know if you have anything more to add to this topic.
Well, one of the things that, you know, that I want everybody to know, that the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting along with TRT, you've got to go slow with it because your brain and your heart and you're changing yourself on the cellular level, and it takes time. You've got to go slow with it. So a lot of my clients, my athletes that switch over to the ketogenic diet, they have to dial back their training. And a lot of them, when they dial back their training, are like, oh, I'm going to get slow, or I'm not putting the mileage in I used to. So it's a behavioral thing too. You have to understand, you know, I always recommend to get blood work, track how you feel, look at your nutritional deficiencies, and make them understand this is a process that we got to go through over 6 months. And then you could see the performance change. Now, a lot of athletes want to put on 10, 20 pounds of muscle. I understand that too. They got to eat 6 meals a day. They want to maintain high muscle mass. And again, like I said, I love those guys, but endurance athletes and high-level bodybuilders, you know, that's sort of, your body's not designed for that. That's a lot of inflammation, eating 6 meals a day, a lot of calories, you're raising insulin, hemoglobin A1C, you know, and again, I'm not shooting those guys down, but I've studied them and I've imaged their hearts and I help them get out of the railroad tracks. Carrying extra muscle sometimes it can be as bad as carrying extra fat. And the endurance athletes, too much mileage in a hormonal deficient state can block your arteries. Mm-hmm. Elevated cortisol and low testosterone is a lot of the endurance athletes have heart blockages, stents, and bypass. And I've worked with athletes that have had heart transplants that want to get back on the bike and start training again. And you got to go real slow with these guys, Stephen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much, Russ, for enlightening us on this very special topic. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And anytime I can help, guys, see Scala Precision Health and the Russ Scala YouTube channel if you want to take a deeper dive into this.
Okay, thank you. See you next time, Russ.
Thanks, bro.